Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about today is my experiences with interdimensional beings or extraterrestrials, aka aliens, and UFOs. It's something that exes in the past didn't want me to talk about with other people too frequently because they were afraid that I would look crazy. Um, I don't really care if I look crazy. I wouldn't share these stories if they weren't a whole like really true, and if I didn't believe that they were true 110%, because I know that they do make me look crazy. So if I'm lying, then I'm an asshole. But I wouldn't say it if it wasn't truthful. Um, I guess it started way back, probably when I was like 12, because I was hanging out with this girl named Christina, and maybe even earlier than that, when we were on our way to Texas. Um, my brother and I were in the back seat, of course, and we had this big Trailblazer, and we're on a really long trip, so we're just staring out the window. We had probably slept all day because it was bright and hot, and we were looking out the window at night, and there were these moving lights that were going like a lot slower than us it seemed, but they were still moving. They weren't like planes. It was weird. Um, I mean that it's too foggy of a memory. I can't say that that was an actual UFO sighting, but my brother brings it up to this day. He's like, "You remember that time that we saw that thing in the sky?" And I was like, "Yeah," but that was, I guess, the first experience, if you want to say that. I'm not really sure about this window when I was younger. I mean, I can't remember it, but my parents told me about it. Um, the lights that come from the little prisms that people hang in their cars, the little prism lights, I used to call those Tinkerbells in the car. And my mom multiple mornings asked, "Okay, honey, how did you sleep?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I didn't really sleep that much. I stayed up all night playing with my toys and the Tinkerbells." And she's like, and I've had dreams where it was similar to that, but they would just like fly around, and I don't know if those were spirits or they were some kind of little energy balls. And I was perceptive to it when I was younger, so, and like that's other people telling me these stories that I used to say when I was little, so I'm not really gonna worry about them lying, because they don't have anything to gain from it. Just breathing. Oops. um, but the first ones that I really remember, there was one time that my friend Christina, we were best friends, and my dad, we were out fishing, and we were at this pier, and we were getting back in the truck, and we're looking up at the star, and the star, and it's like moving around. And me and Christina are looking at it, and like it's moving around. We're like, "What's that?" Like, "Oh my gosh!" And right as my dad looks up, it goes, and it like goes away and disappears, but it like does like it does in the movies, and it was like the light went to the side. That was pretty cool. I was a lot younger. My dad and Christina both saw it, so that's cool. Um, then after that, I think is when I woke up with this scar. This is before I ever really cared about anything moving in the sky or any of that. I had never seen any alien movies, so it wasn't like it got put in my head. I have this scar. Oh, I gotta wait till the blood gets out of my knee. I have like a crease from my pants. See that line? Hold on. I have that scar. I woke up to take a shower one morning. Hold on, okay. I'll get a better picture of it later. Um, but I was taking a shower and like, wash my leg. You see it? I'm like, try to get it off. Of course, it's not coming off. it's a really significant, like, you can see it plain as day, like, if you're not, like, actually, yeah, you can see it just by looking towards it. And, like, if you look really close, it looks like it's got little, it's like a straight line, but it's got little, like, stitches. So, I mean, there wasn't a wound there that I was washing my leg and I saw it. So I asked my mom after I got out of the shower if I'd ever had knee surgery. And she's like, no, you've never had surgery. So I was like, okay. And I just shrugged it off. But it's not like scars that I have in straight freaking lines. And I mean, I used to self-harm, so I know the way my body scars, and normally my body scars outward. And this is a slight inward indent. It's just very, very different, and I have the memory of an elephant. I can remember things from when I was like 3 years old. I don't ever remember a wound there, especially not a straight wound. I remember scratching my leg and like scraping my knee as a little kid, but it was on the front of my knee, like on the front bottom of my knee. And it was, of course, like a little strawberry. It wasn't, or a little raspberry, whatever they call it in softball. But it wasn't a straight line. The straight line is very weird. But so I ignored that for a while. I didn't really think about it because I just thought it was weird, and I didn't really want to think about it. And And then I started waking up at like 5 o'clock in the morning with bright blue lights outside my window. Like, kind of like a little darker than that, but like electric blue lights beaming in my windows. And I always had like this fear, like this terrifying fear that I shouldn't go look outside. Like, I mean, it wasn't the street light. I've seen the street light before, and I didn't see those blue lights every morning. It was just these few mornings. Actually, right now, I kind of feel like I'm being watched. But so I was really scared for a little while. And I started doing research. Well, I was drawn to do more research, do any research. I had never done any research on aliens and different abductee experiences. And I used to have dreams that there were a bad alien race and they were tormenting my town and they were chasing us. And with my beliefs on dreams, I think this has happened in another different dimension. And they would always be like angry, and I had no idea why. And so we just keep running, and I don't know, my phone's freaking out. But then I felt like I shouldn't be doing research, so I put them away and locked them in my hope chest for a really long time. And I didn't touch it until I started having dreams in the most recent years, probably like 5 years. I started having dreams first. I had dreams where I have a guardian family. I have a guardian family with a mom and a dad symbol, and a daughter the equivalent of my age. Like, I don't think she's not 21, but she's like the same in retrospect to her parents. But and after I met them and had experiences with them, where they introduced themselves to me, said they're like, and in different dreams, there were a whole bunch of different dreams. Other ones were, the first dream that I remember was, it was my guardian, and he had human skin, like still the shape of what we most of us believe to be the Greys, or the larger head with the big eyes, but he was dressed in like tan skin and a striped shirt and a baseball cap. And he looked through my grandparents' window and he said, "We're always watching you." And I was really scared at first, but then I've had more and more dreams with them, and if the negative entities were to enter the dream, I'd be like, okay, I'm with them. and they'd leave me alone. So that's been really interesting. But then after I started having those dreams, sorry, it's a lot of experiences, and that's why I have such a strong belief with it. I took my friends. I funded a road trip to bring two lovers together. And so we're in Georgia, and we were dropping my friend off because we picked her up in Georgia and went out to North Carolina. But we're dropping her off on our way back home, and it's nighttime, and we're driving, and we look up, or I'm looking through the sunroof, my friend's sunroof, and I see this moving light, and it's like, I know I made the face, like I imagine that's what the little light looked like, but, and it's moving, and I'm like, hey Doug, check this out. Doug's in the backseat, because I got shotgun, because I've hunted the whole trip, but Doug's in the backseat, and he looks up, he's like, and he's watching it, and we decide that we're going to pull over in a minute, but he's like, yeah, I see it, it's right over there, right? He points to an entirely different light. So we pull over at the nearest area that's really dark, which is kind of scary. And we all got out of the car, and there's me, Doug, Ellie, and Andy. So there's 4 of us. Yeah. And we're staring up, and it's the 4th of July. It was the night of the 4th of July. So of course there's a whole bunch of fireworks in cities and stuff, but we end up seeing at least 20 different of these little lights that are like going like this, and they'd slow down and they'd stop, they'd change direction abruptly, like complete right angle, and they'd just disappear, they'd get brighter, they'd move around, but at least 20 of them. So I'm like freaking out, I'm like, what, this is so awesome, like that's so cool, and my other friends are sitting there watching them with me, and of course we're sober, we're driving across, we're on a road trip, we're not stupid. The most that we've got in our system is caffeine. And so we're over there and we're looking at all of them, and I'm really excited, but my theory is that big explosions of colorful lights still looks awesome no matter what species you're in. So I think that they were like, oh man, look at all those crazy explosions. Either they were monitoring us or they were just enjoying the show. But there was that one. We ended up leaving that area because we got a bad feeling. I don't know if you've ever had a bad feeling in one limb, but I got a bad feeling in my arm. So I was kind of scared and we left. And then Andy was like, dude, I got a bad feeling in my shoulder. And I was like, that's weird. But yeah, so we left. And that was that set of experiences. And what was after that? But after that time, I would look in the sky all the time, constantly. Like I got used to seeing things that looked like they were in constellations. Just they'd like make little S formations and then go up, kind of. Even if it's in a constellation, and I thought that wasn't the case at first, but I think some of them chill out in the spots that there are constellations, and like not in the actual spots, but like in that line of sight, and they move around specifically to see if the people that are paying attention notice something. Because I don't think they're trying to be like, hey, we're up here, but I think they're saying like, hey, if you're looking, we're here. I think that's the case. So if you're ever outside, this isn't the end of my experience anymore. If you're ever outside, lay down or put your head on something that's not going to move, so you can't be like, oh, it was probably my head. And then just look at each little dot you see, and then see if it's moving around in a weird way. If it's moving like this, or if it's like just doing like what a plane does, just kind of discredit it, because you'll probably see more that aren't doing that. But okay, so after that one, my friend Cody and I started going out to the beach. Indian Rocks Beach has one of the best view. Indian Rock Beach in Florida has like the best view area ever. I don't know how long this video can be, but we used to go out and like not even that that long ago, but we'd go out to the beach. We just sit there and talk about life and philosophy, and we'd eat snacks and look at the sky. And I eventually got a green laser pointer, which I have to get fixed, the ones that go up to 10,000 feet, and point at it. And not if it's a plane. We'd only do it if it's like a star. A star. And we saw a lot of different ones move, but the most significant ones we called Mexican planes, where there'd be nothing in the sky, and all of a sudden there's a really bright light in the sky, and then it's moving around quietly, and then it would start coming in, and then when it got really close, it would turn on a blinking light. Oh, I forgot the one. So this other time, but it was before the beaches, with Cody. I was with my friend Tyler, and at the time we were kind of seeing each other. So I picked him up from work on St. Pete Beach, and we were like, oh, well, let's go to the beach for a little bit before we have to go home. It's like midnight, and he has a kid, and his sister is watching, so we were like, okay, let's just go have some alone time for a minute, chill out on the beach. And we're walking along the beach to find a cool spot, and he stops, and he's pointing out at 12 o'clock towards the shoreline. Like if the shoreline was 9 and 3, then it was 12 o'clock. So he's pointing at that, and it's moving like I'm used to. It's like a star, and it's just moving like that, doing all these crazy little movements, and staying in the same dime of a spot, like if you were to hold a dime out at arm's length. And then there was one at 1 o'clock and one at 2 o'clock. And so we're sitting down at this point. He's kind of freaked out, and I'm kind of excited. And we're looking at all of them. They're all doing the same thing. And then the one at 2 o'clock looks like it's getting farther away, because imagine it's over here, or there. Imagine it's right there. And it's going like that, but it's going like that. And see how it kind of looks like it's getting farther away if it's moving closer? It was getting closer. And as it got closer, it got up to the shoreline, it's not making a sound. And it's just a ball of light. It's like that same orangish tint, like some street lights. No sound, just that color. It was just a ball of light. And it was probably the size of a car. I'd say it was probably the size of a car. A small car, but a car. And it cast light on the shore as it got closer. And then it cast light in the water and the shore. And it's probably 30 feet high, 30 feet off the ground, because there was this big condo building. And not a big one, but a smaller one, probably 3 or 4 stories. And it went over top of that and this tree and cast light on those. Tyler is at this point freaking out. He's like, let's go to the car. And I'm like, the car is that way, and I point towards the object because the car is halfway between us and the object. He's like, okay, never mind, let's not go to the car. He's freaking out, and I'm really excited because I look at this object and I feel like I'm seeing my family that I haven't seen in a really long time, which is really weird. I'm not saying I'm an alien, but I'm saying that I feel very connected with them. So it's over the building, and then it turns on a red blinking. It's going really slow. It's here's the water, and then it's over the tree, and then the condo, and then here it turns on a blinking light, and then it's a blinking red light, and then it goes off into the city, just chilled. So he's freaking out. We go back to the car, and we start driving back home, and we're looking around trying to figure out what it is, and all these helicopters look almost exactly the same, except for they're making noise. I don't know, well, not exactly the same, very similar. I know that I've seen different ones of the Mexican planes, which I didn't get to explaining, I'm sorry. I guess that was the first Mexican plane I ever saw. But Cody and I were out on the beach, and I'll ask Tyler if he wants to do a YouTube video explaining what he saw, because he'll say almost the exact same thing. If not the same thing. But he probably won't say he's freaking out. Anyways, Cody and I go out to the beach, and we call Mexican planes. They'd and be all lights, and they'd turn on blinking lights when they got really close, and they pretty much pretend to be planes. And since it was the Gulf of Mexico, we call them Mexican planes. And like they come straight out of the middle of nowhere, and so we saw a lot of those, and we got kind of used to seeing them. We saw a couple that were more intense and totally silent. Some of them ended up like turning on sound, but they would turn it on way after. I know there was one time we went out with a group of our friends, and we actually got a picture. I've got 2 pictures now of different things we've seen. And like the time we went out, my friend Brian pointed out that it went over us, and then the sound started when it was past us. And then he pointed out other planes, like 3 other planes over the night. And he's like, see, they're way far away and they're still not even near us, and you can hear them first. And so that was interesting. And we did get a picture. I think we got a picture of that one. And that was around the same time. But then on December 21st, you know, doomsday, everyone's like, okay, it's doomsday. But I decided if we were seeing as much activity as we were on regular nights at this beach, I booked a room at this little quaint inn. It was the coolest thing ever. Really, really weird situation with trying to get the room, but really cool place. And we were out there, me and my ex Jeremy, and then him, Cody. And at like midnight, craziest one. Yeah, the craziest one. It's windy as all hell because there was a crazy winter storm Draco, and the wind is so crazy. If we jumped up straight, we would get carried over like a foot before we dropped. But anyway, so we were walking down the beach with the wind, so we didn't get embers in our face when we were smoking. And I decided to stop. Some weird feelings. I stopped, and like we've got crazy hoodies on, like holding them like this so we don't get sand in our eyes. Stop and look over, and we're just like staring out, and then there's just like bright red light, like the brightest red light ever. And okay, not ever, but the brightest red light ever. I said it again. But there's a really bright light, and it's doing the wiggly thing like we're all used to by now. So it's moving around, and we're just like staring at it, and then it turns into like the bottom of a sphere, like maybe slightly curved, like that, but it's light. It's like a red tinted white light. It just turned into that, and so I am holding their hands right now. I'm like, oh my god, mother effers, 2012 is real, like freaking out. Like it was the craziest thing. And oh, I forgot about the dream. Okay, the other dream, I'll tell you after that. So I'm holding their hands, and this little thing is still doing the same motion, but it's this huge thing, and it's not the moon, and it was a red light previously. It's not like it was totally different. It was the same spot, same thing, and it's moving around doing the weird wiggly thing, and then it looks like it's getting closer. So I'm like, oh my god, guys! And Jeremy's kind of scared. He's like, we're all really excited about it though, and then it just disappears. So we're kind of like, looks like it was getting closer, and now it's gone. Where is it? So we start walking back to the inn, and we get back to the like same area where the inn's beach is, and it comes back. It doesn't come back as the red light. It comes back as the weird half sphere thing, and it does the same thing. It moves around, and I'm like, and I'm not holding their hands this time because it was crazy. And we decided that after this thing disappears again, we're gonna go inside and get Jeremy's tablet and look at the sky map and just make sure for a fact that it's not the moon, just to rule anybody out. So it's moving around again, and then it looks like it's getting closer, and then it disappears. So we go inside, and we grab his tablet, like we run inside, and then we grab his tablet, and we download the sky map, and we look in that area. The moon's below the horizon. So there's no way that was the moon, not at all. We're not on any drugs. Not on any hallucinogens. It was just crazy, and it was awesome. So there was that, and then we got a picture of one at about 6 in the morning. 6:11 we were meditating. We were putting positive thoughts out there because there was a glow of meditation that day. At 11:11 in the morning, sometime that wasn't, I don't know which time it was, but at 6:11 we were supposed to be meditating. So we were meditating, and then we open our eyes, of course with jackets on the side that the wind's coming from, and we're just looking out, and the sun's starting to rise behind us, and there's still some stars that we can see. It's still only just slightly light out, and we're staring out, and then this light appears, and it's like that sound that I just made, kind of like a flare, like, and it's like really bright at first, and it comes down a little bit, but it's still really bright, like, and it's still just like bright as a flare. I mean, brighter than that, but a giant flare. But so it's out there, and it's moving around, dropping. Oh, snap! I totally forgot about this other one. That was the one we got a picture of. Anyways, that one comes closer, and after it gets really close, it like looks like the light's pointing at us. It looks like the light is just pointing directly at us, because normally they look like there's maybe a light on them, but it's still pointing up. It looks like it was pointing directly at us. And as it went over us, it of course turned on a blinking light. We got the picture before the light, so you get it without the light, so it doesn't look like a plane, which is pretty cool. And then it comes over us, and it's over us with the blinking light, and it has lights where lights on a plane would be, like the wings and the tail, and it's going over us. And the sun, like the beams of light from the sun are coming up, and there's no body to this plane. None. There's no body. And it doesn't start making sound until after it passes us. So we're like, what? Crazy. There was that, but I don't think it was that night, but another night with Cody maybe. I think it was another night with Cody, but Jupiter, because we became familiar with the constellations like near Orion, because in that area, because that's the ones that we were always looking at. And talking too much. And one time, because I used to think that the ones in constellations, there's no way that they could be something else. Until this night, I didn't have a smartphone yet, so I didn't have Sky Map. But we knew which ones were which. And we were staring at them, and then there's this one, the bright one, the ridiculously bright one. After watching all of these ones, it was a really crazy night. Totally sober. Anytime I've seen anything and even say that it's happened, it's because I was sober. I don't count anything if I've ever been in any kind of state altered. But Jupiter, it's like over here, and then it starts kind of wiggling, and then dropping a little bit, and then wiggling, and then it dims down. It dims, so it's a lot lighter, and it goes, and then it dances down there a little bit, and then it goes back up, and then it gets brighter, and then like, and then it goes below the horizon. Everything else is still in the same spot, but Jupiter pretty much took a walk. That was one of the craziest things. I mean, aside from the ones that we saw giant things of light, but that was really intense because it's freaking Jupiter. If I had a smartphone, what would it say? Would it say that Jupiter is not there, or would it say Jupiter's supposed to be there? It was really weird. But the dream that I said I wanted to tell you guys about is probably the most intense one, and I don't think it was really a dream. I think it was a foggy memory. Because the morning when I woke up, I went to sleep, I had baggy t-shirt on, my PJ pants, like a specific t-shirt on, and my specific pants on. And it was this day. And I had a dream where I woke up in the middle of the night, wearing exactly that, kind of groggy, couldn't really move. And so I had a dream of this. And I'm looking this way, and my window was that way. And on this side, I feel a presence, and Gary is my guardian. He says to call him Gary. His name is not actually Gary. But he He's like, I'm here because I know that I am accepting of them, but it's still scary. It's scary to see another creature that you've only seen in movies or in books and in dreams. It's weird when if you see them consciously. So I'm still kind of scared of seeing them consciously. I don't know why. It's not like scared, but it's the unknown issue with humans and their brains. But so I'm laying down. It's hard for me to move. I'm like, this way. I can feel him here. And he's saying, hey, I'm here. I know you're still kind of afraid to look at us. So I'm here and I wanted to check up on you and let you know that we're still here. And I'm trying for some reason with all my might to move my arm. And I move my arm up a little bit and then I just grab as hard as I can because I'm trying really hard because I can't really move that well. And I squeezed his pinky. He has four fingers, but I squeezed his pinky. Tiny little pinky, this big, and he shrieked like a multi-dimensional screech and went through his hand. And I felt so bad. I was like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I couldn't control my hand. And he understood, and I felt horrible, and then I went back to sleep, and then next thing you know, I woke up in the morning, and I remembered all this. So I don't really think it was a dream, because I woke up and then went back to sleep. But I remember the texture and the feel. It was very amphibious feeling. It's very soft but slightly squishy. Like kind of like a lizard's tummy. Not like a lizard, like a gecko's tummy. Geckos are a lot softer. And it was very soft and kind of squishy. And but still kind of firm, because it doesn't feel like it's movable everywhere. That was the most intense dream memory I've had. I've had a lot of experiences, and a lot of people would say that, oh no, she's batshit crazy. I don't care. If this relates to anybody, I'd like for you to message me, find me on Facebook, and talk to me. I'm posting this at the risk of sounding like that ancient aliens dude. I don't really care if people think that I do sound like I'm lying or like I'm crazy. It's what's happened to me, and I want other people that might have had crazy experiences or just seen crazy things in the sky to not feel like they're crazy if they want to talk about it. And also, after there was that convention, I don't remember which, where the Minister of Defense, the former Minister of Defense for Canada, just blatantly told us all that there are aliens, there are extraterrestrials. Former government officials are sitting here acknowledging the fact that there are aliens. Former senators and congressmen saying, yeah, we agree with you. This information is true. We need to acknowledge that. It's ignorant to think that we're the only ones in the solar system, let alone the universe. There are probably tons of species that are more advanced than we are, because we halt ourselves with the fact that we're fighting ourselves. We cannot grow as much as we could possibly if we're sitting here fighting ourselves over things that don't really matter. So I think that there are a lot of species, and I think that they are here, and I think that they're contacting a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. A couple of the reasons have been told to me blatantly, but I've been told that they're contacting the people that are going to make a difference. They're contacting the people that are going to help the world. I think that might be why I have such a driven purpose for it. I would sacrifice myself for what I believe in. I would sacrifice myself to help you. If anyone has any questions, I'm pretty sure I've explained most of what I've experienced. I've had a lot of different experiences, and I kind of feel weird about posting this because for a while I did feel like I felt like if I said something that they would be mad. But I mean, not my guardian family, the other ones, the ones that were there in the beginning. I'm not sure how I feel about it because I still feel like a lot of them are trying to be hidden because they know that humans are very destructive and very fearful. That fear kills us. I want you guys to think about it. Um, if an alien or extraterrestrial or interdimensional being, as I like to call them, if one of them came up to you and was like, hello, blah, 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 and they said something, and they were not, like, sitting here, like, trying to hurt you or something, don't be fearful. A lot of people are like, oh, I'd shoot an alien in a heartbeat. Why? That's why they don't want to contact a lot of us. Because we just want to kill anything that isn't us. They want to kill anything that isn't our race or doesn't have our mindset. Get out of that mindset. Get out of that mindset fast, or you will not do well in the future. Yeah, try to be loving and accepting. If they are contacting us, they're probably trying to help us because we're in a really deep hole. We're killing ourselves. I mean, the population is higher than it's ever been, but we are effectively killing ourselves by fighting the wars within ourselves. And it's sad. So if they are contacting us, I think they're trying to help us. There are probably some that are trying to hurt us because there are probably still species that have the same mentality as most people in this world, like that violent, oh, I'm supposed to be most powerful thing. But you can't fear that. You have to trust that if they are more advanced and they're being able to travel around the universe, then they're probably not having the same mindset as us, because that's the whole reason why we're not flying around, like, able to do all of these crazy things. Because hate and fear and greed, they halt us. The sooner we see that, the sooner we thrive as a society. Thanks for listening to my really long video. I hope you liked it. I hope you have a good day too.